Good morning, seniors. What we're going to do today is I am going to show you how Mrs. Biesterfeld and I want you to put scholarly sources into OneNote this year. So when these get assigned later in the week, you're essentially going to get a OneNote page into your file. So if you go down to like Alberto Cini, Elise, Mandy Torres, it doesn't matter. You will have this distributed under, if you look at CGP paper. Let's go back actually down here. So just for instance, Mr. Cini has under CGP paper your sources and source notes. That's where these are going to be distributed, and that's where you'll find them. You'll get them. We'll distribute them for you. But let me explain real quick what you're doing. Now, just a quick disclosure: these directions might change a little bit, so don't pay too much attention to that right now. But essentially, what we'll be giving you is a credibility sheet that you must fill out for the source. And then underneath, what you must do is insert the source. How do you do that? Well, I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to show you a couple things, how to find the source, and then I'm going to show you how to insert it. Let's see, we don't need that. Let's go over here. I'm going to go back. I was already practicing a little bit. Okay, good. So this is what you will start with when you go to, or to find out typically what I Google is Miami-Dade Library Database, and then I click, if you go up here, so make sure you do that word for word, and then I just click Gale, and it takes you to the Gale academic search engine right away. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Sorry, let me go back one more. Whatever. No, actually, let me just show you that so we're not all confused. So you click Gale, and it's going to take you to something that looks a little bit like this. And I always do Gale academic one file, but you can also click other ones too. For instance, all databases right here, but the academic one file typically looks for academic or scholarly sources. We are looking for scholarly sources. So if you were to click that, it takes you here. Now, one cool thing that they do with the Miami-Dade Library website, and we'll look at Google Scholar in a second. It's not quite as good, but it's definitely got some good stuff in there too. Is it splits it up by topic for you too. So when we are brainstorming today and you're trying to figure something out to do for this, there's all sorts of different avenues you could go down. I'm gonna do marketing just for kind of the sake of argument here. You see I was already playing around with some of these. And it gives you, one of the cool things that the library website does too is it splits up by subtopic. So marketing, way too broad of a topic, right? We're going to talk about that this week with how to narrow your senior project topic down to like an inquiry question and then a thesis. But you can't just say, and honestly, even inflation is way too broad. But I'm going to click on that one because that's at least more narrow than marketing. So marketing with a subtopic of inflation. And you'll see here, it gives you some different content types. Now magazines, not bad, okay. Same with news, but what we want and what Mrs. Biesterfeld and I want you to focus on heavily with this topic is academic journals, okay? We want you to stick almost primarily to academic journals because those are going to give you the highest quality sources. Now, these are all probably pretty good, but I'm actually going to click on peer-reviewed journals here, and it's going to lower it by about half and narrow it by about half. Excuse me. What peer-reviewed means is it essentially gives you as the student kind of the peace of mind that these are really high-quality sources. Peer-reviewed means that they are reviewed by college professors, reviewed by people with doctoral degrees. They have a lot of review, for lack of a better word, put into them. And so they are like fact-checked, they are accurate, they are the best of the best. These are the types of sources you want to use for your paper. So I'm going to click academic journals just to get a full list here. And there's all sorts of good stuff here. Let's take a look at, and one other cool thing that the library website does is it gives you the author, it gives you the journal or the publication, volume and issue number. These are all things, the date it came out. These are all things you're going to need for your APA style works cited page. So make sure you pay close attention to that stuff. As a matter of fact, one thing I like to do, and you could do this on your iPads as well, is I'm going to do this distangling economic effects one, and I'm actually going to screenshot this just so I know which one I took. Be a fun little thing to insert on my page. Not required necessarily, but just make it look nice. And you'll notice here I click on this and it loads up the whole thing for me. Very cool, right? However, you do not want to have to constantly come logging into the website and searching for this. So what you want to do is save a copy of it. And the easiest way to do that, there are a couple different ways. You'll notice they give you options here. You could have it emailed to yourself. You could save it to your Microsoft OneDrive, which you all have. You could save it to your Google Drive, which you all have. But I think downloading it is going to be the easiest for how we store them in OneNote. So I'm going to click download, and sure enough, it downloads. Very good. And I have it because we want to be able to annotate it too. And annotating in OneNote is the easiest thing to do. Now what you need to play with here, and this should be relatively the same on your iPads, and you should have capability to do this, is you want to insert it. What I'm going to insert first, just because I like that little screenshot that I took, is I'm going to insert a picture. We do not want the yearbook, we want my desktop. Good. And just so I know exactly what I got here, let's click on this. A little small. Let me make it bigger. And okay, so here's my first scholarly source. And then after that, what you want to do is you want to put the printout in there. Now this probably got saved to my downloads, and it was probably in the exact same spot, or it's probably in a downloads folder on yours too. And here it is. Sure enough, I accidentally downloaded it twice, the Distangling Economic News PDF. So let's insert that as a printout. Might take a little bit here just to catch up, but and voila, here it is. Sorry, it always bumps you to that down to the bottom when that happens. One thing I forgot to talk about when I was on that on the library page is a lot of these are going to be kind of difficult to read. You've maybe had Miss Lang or somebody else talk about Lexile level with you before. The Lexile level for these is pretty high, and 1440, that's like at almost like probably for sure I would say a college reading level. You're all about hovering around like a 1200, 1300 Lexile level, hopefully at least. But that's typically considered to be senior level and high school reading level. And these are all about that, or maybe even a little bit more, because they're about complex topics. And so what you want to do here, like another requirement I think we're going to make, as you annotate, so I'm going to go to draw. If this is a little messy, then forgive me. I'm using my Mac to record this. And you're going to read through it much slower than I'm going. I'm going fast just for the sake of this video. But you want to make sure you highlight and annotate data. So not just highlighting. You want to highlight, but then you have to like mark and maybe paraphrase or say why you're putting this data in here. So let's do this. Put differently, people become more pessimistic or negative, if you don't know what that means. When they are exposed to negative economic information, then they become optimistic when exposed. I told you this was going to be messy. Exposed to positive economic information. So what this author is saying here is that essentially if I was to show Dr. Troji or somebody a negative economic news story, he would, in theory at least, according to this information, become more negative, pessimistic than if I were to show him like, ooh, look, the economy's back up. He would not be as positive as though he were negative. So I'm going to annotate this here just with a little text box and say that typically speaking, negative economic news makes humans more pessimistic optic. Then positive news makes them oops, sorry, optimistic. There we go. And so this is useful for a number of reasons. One, it takes a little bit of work. We want you to primarily paraphrase when you're using data. You can use quotes, obviously, like that's certainly an option. But, and this is advice that I would say most of the teachers who've taught writing here would tell you, that when you paraphrase something, it's just better. It shows Mrs. Biesterfeld and I that you are processing and decoding the information and able to put it into your own words and explain it to us, explain it to whoever's correcting your paper. And it just makes it more clean too. So if I were to like actually put this in a paper, I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna show you that too real quick. Oops, don't do that though. Sorry, I apologize. My Mac is getting pretty hot here. So according to the author's name, last name is Damstra. So according to Damstra, you should, of course, introduce the author too. So according to Damstra, let's actually put his first name here for a second too. So according to Alit Damstra, who writes for the International Journal of Communication. Who writes for the, and then italicized, don't forget. Actually, you know what? I don't want these words in there because they weaken my argument. So that's essentially what you could do, and what Mrs. Biesterfeld and I are going to, and then let's get this off to the margin a little bit more so it looks a little bit cleaner. Much better. You can even draw a little arrow on there too to showcase the two of them. But this is saving you a ton of time actually by doing this now, finding data that's going to be useful to prove your argument. So for instance, if I want to argue that the news is constantly bringing us down by showing us negative information, this would be a very strong piece of evidence for that. And you could go into more detail too. You should obviously like look at this section right here that says uncertainty in the news, etc. But I'm just showing you kind of an example of what you should be doing for that. We'll probably require you to do a set number of those, just at bare minimum. But the more you can do, the better. It's going to show us that you really understand what this article is about, and it's going to give you plenty of data to use for your paper. So hopefully that makes sense. That's what you're going to be required to do for all of your sources. And if you have any questions on this, please don't hesitate to ask us in class. But that's a kind of a brief overview of what we want you to do for that. We hope this goes nice and smooth this year for you using OneNote. It's probably our best annotating tool. Let me know if you have any questions. Shoot me an email, and have a wonderful day.